All right, here's the situation we're in, guys. You're absolutely crushing your career. You're getting busy. In fact, you're now too busy to do everything on your own. You know it's time that you need to go and find that talented admin person who's going to help you get better, help you provide better service to your clients, and take your career to the next level. The question is, who is that person? Who is it? And how do I find them? Hey, I want to welcome you back to part 2 of our team training series. I'm Jason Lopez, managing broker with Real Broker in California, and our coach with the Real Academy. Last week, we talked about the importance of the how, when, and why to build a real estate team. And one of the concepts we covered was leverage, right? Building leverage into your business so you can go from a self-employed entrepreneurial real estate agent to somebody who owns a business. And remember, the difference is, as a self-employed agent, when you're not working, you're not bringing in the money, right? When you create leverage, you get some help. Even if you're not actively working in the business for a day or two or a week, if you want to take some time off, maybe as an example, you've got somebody there holding down the fort and you still have things happening. That's what we're talking about, and that's what I want to focus on today. But I want to start out today by telling a little story. Now, this was a story that was shared with me years ago by a colleague who I was working with at the time, who had an opportunity to spend the day with an amazing company that you're probably familiar with. And that company is called Zappos, right? Zappos started out as an online shoe seller. They've branched out into many different products now, but they're very, very well known for their exceptional world-class customer service. That is all they're about, providing great experiences for their customers. Now, they know the best way to do that is to hire people who are going to really do a good job in that. So my friend had an opportunity to go and spend the day with Zappos, and the first part of that day was in basically an orientation session where all these new hires with Zappos were gathered in a room, and the speaker was talking about and asking, how did everybody feel about the hiring process? And the feedback and comments were along the lines of, I've never been through a process like that. It took way longer than I thought it would, and what it normally takes when you interview for a job. And it was a lot more refined. It was an actual process. I felt like the person and people that were putting me through that process really wanted to get to know me, what I was about, and had a vested interest in making sure I was the right person for the company. So the speaker then went on to talk about how, we've discovered that if we really want to create happy customers for life, we've got to have great employees to take care of those customers. And it actually costs us a lot more money to make a bad hire, rush through some sort of a process or not, and just hire people out of need or by gut, than it does to really take our time to find the right people for the job. And in fact, once we get to this point where we are today, sitting in this orientation room, I want to share with you that no matter what job you are hired to do, if you're working in the warehouse, if you're customer service, or you're an executive, you're going to spend some time over the next few weeks working in different departments, learning different jobs. And we do that because we want you to understand that we all have to work together to create this great experience for our clients. And if you understand and you've walked in somebody's shoes, you're probably going to have a little bit of empathy for those folks if something goes wrong, right? So, but here's what I really want to share with you guys is that because we know it costs us way more money to make a bad hire than it does to take our time, I'm going to offer everybody in this room right now, if for whatever reason you think maybe you're not a great fit for Zappos or you're questioning the opportunity we've provided to you, we'll pay you $1,000 to leave right now and not take the job. Does anybody want to take me up on that offer? $1,000, walk out now, you don't take the job, and we don't waste each other's time. And not one person in that room took the money. In fact, the speaker went on to say that ever since they started offering that $1,000 to basically not start, nobody had ever taken the money. That is a direct correlation to the process, the relationships that are built, the trust that is built, that whole part of getting to know each other and really making sure I'm a good fit for the company and you're a good fit, and the company's a good fit for you. So I just wanted to share that story to kind of illustrate the importance of how some big companies or bigger companies are thinking about hiring. And I mentioned last session that your role as you build your team, if you decide to go down this path, will change. You may find yourself stepping out of the day-to-day aspects of your business, things you've been doing, like lead generation, like going on presentations, like showing property, like writing offers and negotiating contracts. Depending on what you want your team and your business to be, you may end up spending more time training, leading, and developing your people. And so I want you to understand that's part of the process. I mentioned as well in the last session about be, do, have, right? You have to be the type of person you need to be so you can do the things you need to do to take your business to the next level and have the things that you want, reach the goals, right, that you've set for yourself. So there's that mental piece that I want to make sure you guys are really buying into, and so I want to kind of break that down. So let's go back to the question I asked at the beginning. Who is that talented person and how do you find them? Well, let's start with how to find them. If you've done any type of recruiting in your past life or even in the real estate world, and I've hired thousands of agents in my career, I'm here to tell you that the world of recruiting has changed. Gone are the days of posting any old job notice and have droves of applicants start pouring in. Right now, the economy is doing well, the job market is strong, unemployment is down, so you don't have as much competition, you don't have as many people actually looking for work. Just as you as a real estate agent have to differentiate yourself and connect and appeal to potential buyers and sellers, you really need to understand that you now have to fight to really attract top-notch, talented people in that same way, okay? And so one of the most effective ways to attract top talent is in the quality of your job description, okay? So we're gonna spend a little bit of time, I'm gonna kind of break down what that job description looks like. And we're gonna focus solely today on kind of that admin role, executive assistant type person, okay? So let's kind of go through this process a little bit, guys. So first of all, always be recruiting. Always be recruiting. There's no one single place where you can post a job and expect, to find large volumes of applicants. I mean, there's LinkedIn, there's Monster.com, there's Indeed, and you've got these job boards, right? But you need to be everywhere. Also, you need to be building your own pool slowly and steadily. Is there somebody in your world now who might be a good fit for that role or any role that you may have an opportunity for down the road, right? You're kind of building a talent bench, right? You've always got a little bench. So you've always got a pool of talented people to draw from, but also if somebody leaves, there's a good opportunity. You might have somebody in your world already who could step in and fill that role, okay? So you've always got to be recruiting. Think about in your job descriptions and postings, answering questions that the applicants may have, the what's in it for me type questions, right? They're asking what's in it for me? Why is this job enticing for me? So make sure you tell them, spell it out in those postings. The opening of your job description should be, a short paragraph or a few sentences that really speaks conversationally about why they would want to join your team and why you are better than the competition, right? Because trust me, people that are looking at real estate as an opportunity in this capacity, they're going to have some options and they're going to be comparing you to other teams that they may be interested in meeting with as well, okay? All right, appealing to the appropriate personality. So we're going to spend a little bit of time in a few minutes talking about personality. And at heart, agents are really salespeople, right? So you've got to use keywords that are going to resonate with their inner personality, and understanding exactly why that's going to be important. So the staff people love to support you. That's their vision, that's their goal, that's the type of personality they have. They want to contribute, they want to be a team player. So you need to tailor your wording, your job descriptions to appeal to that type of person, to their unique desires. And again, we're going to share some of the templates, and we'll also post the templates into the Real Academy for this specific lessons as well. So you'll have some of those hard copy templates as well for you guys. Okay. In your job postings and descriptions, be brief, but be specific as well. Sincere job seekers are no different than anyone else reading online. They're going to kind of skim things and they don't really read in. So you want to use concise descriptions, bullet points to really convey what the key job responsibilities are and what the expectations are as well, okay? You want to sell your brand. You are the brand. You're the most important piece of the puzzle. It's your team, it's your business, and it's your brand. So remember that it's marketing, pure and simple. So write a compelling marketing message that highlights the significance and benefits of your team, of your business and brand. Why are you so great? How are you unique? What makes you better? Really keep those things in mind as you're putting those descriptions together. Discuss compensation, okay? It's an old school approach, not to really mention anything specific about compensation. But today, guys, again, because of the competitive landscape, you have to discuss compensation. Typically, the second filter candidates are asked is how much they want to make. So if you leave that unclear or blank, it's really going to dramatically reduce the results and the pool of applicants you're gonna be looking for. Okay. Highlight support. What type of training, mentoring, or support will you offer? If you do, make sure you highlight that in the description, okay? So I wanted to back up really quick and talk a little bit about personality. And we're gonna spend a little bit of time, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but I think this is important to understand at the front end. So what is personality? Think of personality as a muscle, guys. It is, it's kind of hardwired. It's a hardwired trait, and you either have it or you don't, right? But just because you have it doesn't mean that you use it or you use it wisely. Now, here's what's important about understanding personality a little bit. And you guys are probably familiar with like the DISC profiles and things like that. There's a lot of different versions of them out there. But what's really important about understanding personality, and this will help you in your sales career as well, is that if you know the type of personality the person you're speaking with has, the way they like to be talked to, how they like to be treated, things like that, you can adjust. See, one of the biggest mistakes I think we make in sales is we try to bring people to where we are without really understanding where they are. And I'll use the analogy of maybe you're looking to buy a new car and you're on the car lot and you're kind of walking around really waiting for somebody to come and help you. You happen to be standing in front of a little sports car and the salesperson finally walks up and says, hey, it's a great little vehicle, you want to take it for a test drive? And you turn around and you say, well, actually, no, I'm interested in the four-wheel drive trucks, right? They just assumed because you were looking at the little sports car, that's what you were interested in, right? So a good salesperson would have walked up and asked questions to help figure out where I am first, right? Hey, welcome to the lot today. Are you looking for a sports car? Hey, yeah, no, not really. I'm looking for the trucks, right? So you've got to go find them on their level first, on that, equal level, and then through the questions we ask, bring them to where they say they want to go. And it's the same thing with understanding personality in the hiring process. So one of the most important things about hiring in real estate, in particular around admin, is it's a very specific personality style that enjoys that kind of work. Now, if somebody doesn't have the right personality, it doesn't mean they're not gonna do good at that job. It just means based on their personality over time, they'll get frustrated and they may not stay. It's one of the reasons we see a lot of turnover in those types of jobs. So again, spending more time on the front end to make sure you're getting the best fit, somebody whose personality fits that job. And I might have mentioned this in the last session, right? It's about not just getting the right people on the bus, but making sure those people are in the right seat on the bus. And so an admin person, an executive person, executive assistant type person, their personality is much different than a buyer's agent personality, as an example, okay? So I just want you to really, really understand that. So when it comes to personality, what we're really talking about is also a fit for the job and a fit for the culture, all right? So we're looking for individual patterns of behavior and thinking, behavior, how a person acts, thinking, how they process problems and ideas. okay? So again, if they're in a role where the personality is a good fit and the way they think and act around that role, if it's something they enjoy, if that's the way they look at things, they're going to be a much better fit over the long term. You're going to cut down on, on that potential turnover, right? So remember, when it comes to personality and fit and culture and all that, knowledge and skills are important, but you can teach the knowledge and the skills. Those are things that can be learned, right? Everyone's personality comes naturally to them because it starts up here again in the mind, in the subconscious. So qualities can be flexed, but are not likely to change very much once a person has matured. So once you reach a certain age, you're doing a job that you're good at, but you don't like it, you hate the job, you are flexing your personality. But you can only do that for so long before you finally say, hey, I gotta go find something else, right? So it's important that we understand that matching the personality strengths to the job is going to put those people in the best position to be successful. And if they're super successful at what they're doing, guess what? You and your business are going to be successful. Your clients are going to be delighted. You're going to provide great experience and everybody wins. So we want to think about engagement, right? How do you engage? If you've got somebody with the right personality in the right job, okay, they're 6 times more engaged than if they're using their strengths every single day. So again, putting them in the position to succeed. Great admin person, great organizer, great systems and models builder. They're doing things every single day that are playing to their strengths. They're going to be 6 times more engaged in you and your business and what you guys are doing. Think about that. When it comes to productivity, if people, or you can teach people what their strengths are, that's going to make them 8 times more productive and engaged. So when performance is recognized and rewarded, you're taking great care of your people, attaboy, pat them on the back, bonuses, things that you really do to recognize their work and the good job, and you reward them, they're going to be less likely to leave your organization as well. So now you're retaining great people at a high level who probably are going to help you build your empire, right? They're going to become empire builders with you. So the next thing about the personality playing to the strength is health and happiness is higher the more they use their strengths to do their job. So they're going to tell you how energetic they feel well rested, they're happy, they feel respected in the job, and then conversely, they report feeling less stressed, less worried, less angry or sad about their job, right? So again, keep in mind, personality is like a muscle. It's a hardwired trait that you either have or don't. But just because you have it doesn't mean you're going to use it the right way. And remember, it also relates to your culture or the culture you're trying to build, okay? So just a couple of things around personality I kind of wanted to share with you before we jump into some of the job descriptions and sample ads that you guys can run, okay? So again, we are going to use the executive assistant role as our sample today, okay? And so if you're taking notes here, which I hope you are, if you want to call it an executive assistant, great. There are some other terminology and wording you might want to think about there. Operations coordinator, executive brokerage assistant, team assistant, operations assistant, whatever it is that you want to use that catches your attention, that you feel best about, go ahead and use. They're kind of interchangeable. So we're talking about the actual posting now, some language and wording that you're going to want to think about. Remember, a couple of sentences, concise, using bullet points to really hammer home what you're trying to find here. So something as a sample might be, we are seeking individuals who care about the quality of their work. The perfect team member will be able to work independently and collaboratively in a fast-paced and unpredictable environment. This job is responsible for day-to-day support of a real estate agent and in a real estate environment. Some of the hats you might wear in this role would be transaction coordinator, marketing, customer service, light bookkeeping, managing our vendor relationships, and maybe even a manager or trainer as our organization continues to grow. So again, you can kind of paint that picture that it's not just about right now, because remember in our last session, guys, I mentioned that first hire. If you hire a super talented person, as you grow, that person may become your operations manager. They may become your CFO, right? They may be the person hiring all of the admin team members as you move forward and grow. They will be doing the interviewing, they will be doing the training, they will be doing the mentoring, right? So that's the quality of person that you're looking for. So you're painting the picture that it's not just about this ground floor opportunity, it's about the future, it's about growing together, and here's what those opportunities for you can look like, so you've got room to grow in your new career, right? So that's really what we're trying to find here. Some of the bullet points, and you can in the samples we're going to post up, you can choose whichever ones you want to use. There's a whole bunch of them, but some of the sample bullet points might include build, implement, and manage all systems for clients, lead generation, database management, and back office support. Coordinate marketing and client events and activities. Oversee all listing files and listing marketing, such as brochures, flyers, postcards, etc. Manage a website, a blog site, and social media accounts. Act as a liaison between clients and agent. Participate in company-provided training sessions. Compile and distribute weekly, monthly reports to clients, our buyers and sellers. And it goes on and on and on. You've got a whole slew of things that you can choose. And you'll just want to choose a handful of those to really hone in and focus on what it is you're trying to attract. So now you've done that. You've posted your ad out there. You're getting responses. You're getting resumes. You're kind of going through those. That's the first stage, right? Is just kind of out of that group, who are the top 2 or 3 or 4 that you want to go to the next level with, and that next level would be a screening process. Okay, so I want to kind of walk you through the screening process, and you might do this over the phone. Before you even bring them in to meet face-to-face, okay? So again, with the screening process, you always strive for talent, right? It costs way more to make a bad hire versus taking your time to find the right person with the right skills you need. So often people hire, not just in real estate, based on their need, or they just absolutely have to have somebody right now, or maybe they hire a friend of a friend or a child of a friend, or somebody they just want to hang out with because they're a fun person, right? It ends up costing them money instead of making them money, right? So always strive for talent, right? I've been talking and harping on that, but it's such an important element here. So by screening candidates, essentially what you're trying to discover is, do they meet the minimum requirements? Are they at the floor level, right? To get the job done? And also through that conversation, is it somebody that you like, somebody that you feel comfortable with, that you connected with, you built rapport with, right? As you move forward in that process, you really want to conduct an in-depth interview. We're going to kind of walk through that in a few minutes as well, but this is really where you get to know the candidate. You can also, through the screening process, get a different perspective from others to make sure you're keeping yourself honest to the process. So obviously checking references, and I'm going to share a strategy around that in a few minutes as well. But maybe having somebody else, maybe your office manager or somebody that you respect in your office, spending a little bit of time with that candidate just to make sure that you're feeling the right things about that candidate and get an objective opinion, right? And then if at the end of the day you think they're going to be a great fit, you're going to come to an agreement together with the candidate on compensation, making sure that it matches the job description. And if it's a match, you're in business, right? You've gone through that process. So let's talk a little bit about the consultative interview. And again, this is kind of that process of really getting to know these people. You've probably now determined that they have the skills, they're a good fit for the role based on that initial consultation and screening that you went through. And now you really want to get into the interview process. I mean, you're going to get into the nuts and bolts, and your job here is to uncover things that maybe they're not thinking about, and then based on their answers, maybe you're not even thinking about, right? So I would recommend number one with the personality profile. There are several of them out there. You can use the DISC if you want. I know Tony Robbins has a great DISC, free DISC profile you can use. You can go to Tony's website and just search for the DISC profile. And you can actually send that link to your candidate. I've come to really love another organization over the past couple of years called Wize Hire, W-I-Z-E. Hire, Wize Hire. They also have a personality profile, although I think it is behind a paywall, but they offer some great products and services around hiring and interviewing and things like that, including the personality profile. So I would really strongly encourage you guys to get on one of those, and before you get to this point, make sure you've provided them with at least a DISC profile so that you can understand a little bit about their personality, how they think about things, how they process ideas, and just be able to be on the same page. It's also going to help you, as I mentioned earlier, by understanding their personality a little bit, develop questions and ask those questions in a way that's going to match up, right? So you're not going to feel like you're butting heads. You're going to be able to ask those questions in a way that makes sense to those people based on their personalities, right? As an example, if you've got a high D personality, right, like that really hardcore driver, high accountability type person, and you're a bubbly social kind of person, you might need to tone down a little bit so that you connect on a better level with that person. I don't think the personality styles matter much as really understanding so that you can share the information. So I'd encourage you again to use one of those DISC profiles or personality profiles that are out there. So the first step though, now that you're at this point with the consultative interview, is your goal here is to verify. You're going through a verification process. So you really want to take the time to verify their personality through a series of questions. You're going to be conversational here. You're going to think about asking questions that are, the who and what type questions. What do you love about this industry? What do you see yourself doing 5 years from now? What kind of examples can you share with me in terms of systems and models that you've either built or operated that's helped grow businesses? Things like that, right? And again, trying to match that up to the personality. You also want to take them through a thought process. And there are a bunch of questions. We're going to post some of this up in the academy, so you'll have access to that as well. But you're going to want to have maybe 20 or 25 questions so that you can get a thorough understanding of how their mind works. Okay, you really want to make sure that they have the ability to solve the types of problems your business is solving, that you're helping your buyers and sellers get through, right? And they need to have the right frame of reference and thought process around that stuff. One of the most important strategies here, guys, and one of the most important processes in this whole hiring thing is what we call the life story, okay? And this is basically an opportunity for your candidate to narrate their track record. They're gonna tell you things and reveal why and how they have done what they have done, why they have what they have, what they've learned, and how they've used that to grow their career and take their career to the next step. Now, there's a couple of things around the life story that I think are important to talk about here. One is, don't be too concerned if they had a lot of jobs, right? And I like to start people with, from the time you graduated high school, tell me about the next step in your education. Did you go to college? What did you study? Why did you choose that to study? What did you love about it? What didn't you like about it? Did you discover things along the way that you thought were going to be important but weren't really important as you were studying that? Okay, great. Tell me about your first job after college, or if they went right to work after high school, start there, right? But you want to kind of let them narrate, and you're taking notes. I would even set up an easel, like a whiteboard, and just write these notes down. And you're going to learn about their career path, their motivation, why they chose certain things, ask them about their money, how much they've made, things like that. So you want to walk them through that narrative, that life story, so you can really deeply understand who they are and what they're all about. And through that process, guys, you're going to find out a lot about their motivation. You're going to really get some great insight into why they did what they did, what their future trajectory looks like. That's going to help you determine, do their future goals align with the job and align with your vision for where you want to take the company as well. So that life story is super critical to to learn and help them, you know, understand the process, and just a great way to get to know people. You're going to learn things, even if you're doing it with somebody that you know. And I would recommend that. I've done it with my own agents over the years, and I would just tell them, hey, I'd like to do this just for practice, right? We're hiring a lot of agents. When I meet with top producing agents, this is a process I want to take them through. Plus, it'll give me and you an opportunity to know each other better, get to know each other a lot better, and help me practice and get really good at this. And maybe you do that with your wife or your kids or another agent in the office or your coach or whatever the case may be. But it's something you've got to kind of practice and master. Again, keeping it conversational, and some sample questions, which again we'll post up in there, might be, at your last job, who did you report to? What did you like best about working at that company? What did you like least about working there? You said your manager was John. Tell me a little bit about John. Did you like reporting to them? If not, why not? Why did you leave? And don't be too concerned about that question, right? People leave hopefully for a better opportunity. But understand that as you're asking these questions, guys, you may need to probe, right? Scuba dive. You have to go a little deeper sometimes. If they're especially giving you generic type answers, right? Hey, it wasn't a great place to work. You know, my manager was never there for me. You know, you got to try to dig a little deeper. What do you mean by that? Tell me more about that. How did that work, right? Things like that. So you need to really understand what that digging deeper is gonna bring for you as you move forward. Then there's some questions around their track record, right? This is kind of the tell me phase of the process, and the candidate should be able to demonstrate through their answers the knowledge and skills they have that they're bringing to the table based on what that track record is. So you can customize those questions for that specific job role. Again, looking for in-depth answers, try to get as much detail as you can, and get the actual history, not a hypothesis. You know, you really want to get the actual history. So you want to avoid questions like, what would you do or say, in favor of what did you do or say, right? Actually, what happened? Tell me what you did to overcome that challenge or objective, right? And then, you know, make sure they have questions as well for you. All right, and then I want to wrap this session up, guys, with a little bit about the background checks and the reference checks. You know, typically people are going to give you 1 or 2, maybe 3 references. So I think there's a form we'll be able to load up in the Academy as well. That is basically it's an authorization for you while you're doing your reference checks to ask those references if they know anybody else you could talk to who might be a good person to speak with about the candidate. So for example, if you give me 3 references, I'm going to call all 3 references. I'm going to go through the questions and you know, kind of the typical questions about the candidate. And then I'm going to ask, by the way, John gave me permission to ask you, is there anyone else that you know who has worked with John that might be somebody I should speak to, and get their name and number. And you could do that with each of the 2 or 3 references they give you. So now you're able to go with each reference 2 or 3 deep with them and really get good detailed information on their background and experiences and things like that. Now, I learned this because it happened to me, right? And I was getting phone calls from people that weren't on my reference list, right? And I had the document that I had given authorization to do that. I just didn't think anybody ever would. And isn't it funny that the people who take the time to make the best hires, to find and attract talent, and to bring them into their organizations, have a much better track record of people staying, becoming productive, helping grow the organization, and it's a win-win for everybody. So I love that when I was getting calls going, hey, I just got a phone call for a reference check from so-and-so. You know, you should have told me you were on your reference list, and you weren't on my reference list. They're clearly calling other people. They're asking people that I did give them for names and numbers of other people. And so I appreciate you taking the time to give me that reference check. And hopefully you said some good things, right? And they always did, right? So don't be afraid to do that. And again, this is about the process, guys, right? It's all about the process of finding and attracting talented people that ultimately are going to help you build your business, create the leverage. So God forbid, you could take some time off and spend some great quality time with your family and not stress out about the business, because you've got a great person there now backing you up, supporting you, and making sure that your clients are being well represented and well taken care of, right? I learned this a long time ago. Your clients don't work with you because of you. Now, I know a lot of you are going to go, well, yes, they do, and they do. But let me finish the statement. Your clients don't work with you because of you. They work with you because of the standards that you represent. They work with you because of the standards that you represent. And if you're hiring talented people to help you run your business, your clients are going to love that the people you're bringing into your world and ultimately into their world as buyers and sellers have the same or higher standards than you, so that their experience is going to be world class. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We will have our next session up in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned. And as always, you can visit real.academy to take all kinds of free online lessons. And we invite you to do that and to share our message with your friends and colleagues. Have a great day, and thanks again for tuning in.